Hey, Robin, thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experience with other firm owners that might be considering enrolling in our 8-week sales mastery course and working with us here at the Abundant Accountant family.
Mhm.
I'd love it if you could share where you're at in the country and what does your firm specialize in?
Ah, Michelle, thank you for having me on. I would be happy to share. So, my firm has been around for a really long time. We have specialized in tax resolution for most of the 30 years that we've been in business.
Okay.
Um, and we got into a place where we started to kind of pull back from that and started to working on more tax advisory and more tax planning in the last few years. And it's just been kind of chaotic.
Yeah. So tell me about the challenges or frustrations that had things kind of chaotic that you were experiencing in your firm before you realized you had to do something and you reached out to the Abundant Accountant to inquire about our 8-week sales mastery course.
So the chaos was, I won't go into all the details in terms of the beginning, because it was kind of a crazy tax year in terms of staffing. We had some issues with staffing, and unfortunately had to fire them in the middle of the season, but I don't want to go into detail in terms of that. So it just kind of created a bottleneck in terms of the work. We only do about 350 clients. So we're not a very large firm. We're a relatively small firm, but what we do handle are very large, complex issues. We have
Mhm.
international, we have companies that have maybe, 10 partners. We've got clients that have 10 businesses. So we're kind of, we kind of handle some really large estates and stuff, 10 million plus estates. So we've got some high value items that really take a lot of time and energy, but it was causing a lot of stress, because what was happening was we were undervaluing the work that we were doing, and then
Yeah.
we weren't charging what we should have been charging. And so that led to a lot of frustration. And then I had a situation that actually led me to wanting to get involved with the 8-week mastery class. That was a client that we were working with a tax resolution attorney, and
Was that
it
the
went
one that was
south.
texting you at 5 a.m. and said everything was an emergency? That one?
Not at 5 a.m., but right around Christmas time.
Oh, the
It was
holiday.
like
Yeah.
they wanted us to do 3, 4 years worth of bookkeeping before the client had even paid us. And we were struggling to get paid for the work we'd already done. And so we were caught between a rock and a hard place. And so we really just kind of got to an impasse. And
Yeah.
then when the client decided she wanted to go after our licenses for failure to give us documents without paying for it, that's when everything just really kind of hit the wall. And I ended up deciding that this was not really what I wanted to do, that I wanted to do something really different.
Yeah.
And so consequently, that was kind of really my bottleneck and my pain point that said something's got to be different. I know there's a different way to do this, and I'm really just tired of the work that we're doing that is being undervalued. We're giving them first class work, but we're not getting first class pay.
And
And
you're
then
not
when you have
getting
to
treated
fight the
first
client,
class by your clients. You're getting treated
yeah,
like dirt. Yeah.
oh yeah, and then they expect it, and then struggling through people not giving us documents when we ask for documents, not meeting the deadlines that we've told them to, and that just kind of led to just some frustration. That really, for the first time in 30 years, I really was interested in handing over the key, closing the door, and walking away. And I have never experienced it that bad, but it was the defining point for me. So
Wow. And
yeah.
and how did you make that defining point to reach out to us for help and make this change? Like, how'd you how'd you know that this was that solution to solve all this? So you didn't have to close the business. And how did you just say, okay, I'm never gonna do like that anymore. I am gonna make the change.
Right. Well, I have been a member of the AICTP for quite some time, which is the American Institute of Certified Tax Planners, and I've been involved in that for quite some time. And I finally this year decided to go to their reunion conference, which I had not done in a really long time. And that's where I met you guys.
Yes.
And I ran into you, and then I ran into a friend of mine that had actually gone through the class back in 2018 when we first signed up. And he
Oh,
was like, "Oh, you have to do this. It's a game changer." And I'm like, "Okay, done." So, yeah,
awesome. Well, and you
yeah.
didn't have to close the doors, and a lot
No.
has changed.
Oh,
So
yeah.
before we get into your decision to enroll, because I know we did get to meet in person, which not every
Mhm.
person watching this does. Sometimes people
Right,
just from
right,
an ad or they heard the
right.
podcast. But what
Hmm.
have been your biggest financial wins and successes being in the 8 week sales mastery course? And how have things been done a 180 for you?
Well, there were several things. Some of them were financial, some of them were not.
Yep.
The biggest financial was realizing and understanding my value, which I hadn't really ever put that down in writing or really understood how much value I actually brought to the table. And obviously, having done it for 30 years, I bring a lot more value than maybe somebody that's actually gotten started.
Yep.
And honestly, I would look back and say, I wish I'd known you guys years before.
I hear that a
um,
lot, Robin. I do. I wish I would have met you years ago, but there's no better time than the present, and you made the
that's
choice.
right.
So that's what's
That's right.
great. And by understanding and learning your value and being able to make that shift after 30 years, how much more money also went into your bank account in just the last 8 weeks that you're really proud of? And then also on the personal side, how have that shifted for you?
Yeah. I don't know that I've exactly quantified it, but I can tell you this. I have at least $60,000 more in the bank than what I started with. I haven't
That's
exactly been told.
significant, just saying.
Yes, it is very significant. Some of that was collecting on receivables. I got on the phone after I started this program, as they recommended, and actually
As
started
I
calling those.
recommended and told you step by step how to do it. So how
Yep.
much in AR did you collect?
In the AR itself, we're probably about 30 out of that 60,000.
It's amazing.
So, but the biggest difference between the two was um, I had in fact, I did this morning. I actually uploaded it because I got paid on Saturday. So I worked on Saturday, didn't really want to work on Saturday, but I also knew that if I got it done by Saturday, that I could get it off my plate, move on to the next
Yep.
project. And normally I would have eaten all most of the fees for the bookkeeping in this project. So the total project ended up being $11,000. But I would tell you about 5,000 of that is what I gained by having taken the class, because
Yeah.
I ended up charging a higher price on the bookkeeping and a higher price on the tax returns. And, it was a lot of work. And yeah, maybe I could have charged more, but I also talked her into doing a tax plan for another 5,000. And I also talked her into, which I haven't booked, and I've also talked her into a higher fee for next year. And
So what's
so
the total gain on all of that once you do all that work?
I think we're probably looking at
Five.
closer to maybe $20,000
Of gain, of
of
additional
gain
revenue on one client.
on one client.
Yeah.
Yeah, on one
Okay,
client.
so share with us the wins personally and emotionally.
Okay, so here was the biggest aha moment. So as we know, and we're filming this right around after the September 15th deadline. So we were coming into the 15th deadline, and I had been September 15th, that is, and I had been working really, really hard. I've been coming in around 10. I usually come in around 10, but I was staying till 9 o'clock at night. So I was working long hours. We started around September 5th at about 20 tax returns that were due by the 15th, that I had been asking these people back in June and July and August, get me your information, and they were not. And so it was just a real big issue regarding boundaries, trying to get these
Yeah.
people, help them to understand that this is not okay. But the biggest moment was, it was the Saturday, the deadline was on Monday. My husband came to pick me up for dinner, and we were talking about it. And I realized my biggest aha moment, honestly, beyond the fact it was boundaries, was the fact that we were arguing over $250 per shareholder. And most of these people had one or two, or $500, because you're going to be a day late. And I decided that was it. They chose to be late. I chose not to participate. I took the rest of the day off. I took all of Sunday off. I went ice skating because I like to ice skate. So I went ice skating. I spent some time. I had a great eat day. I came in on Monday. I got 6 of those returns reviewed. And I left about 7 o'clock that night and said, too bad. And honestly, there was 3 people that didn't get the returns done. So I didn't feel bad about it. I did not feel at all upset over the fact that it was their choice.
And what's the
And
words you said you shared on our group call that you're no longer going to take abuse from clients,
yes, it was
right?
physical and mental abuse by the clients. And I realized across our industry that
Yep.
we have allowed this to happen. And this is
Yes,
not okay. This is
it
not
is
okay for anybody. And
correct.
we've got to stop that.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you're sharing that because that's why we're here and that's why, you're here
Yeah.
sharing so other firm owners can
Yes.
take this leap and come work with us to
Oh,
eradicate the under-earning and overworking disease that
oh,
this industry has. So together,
yes.
collectively, we can make a change.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Robin, they can also generate an extra 20 grand off one client and collect
Yes.
their AR
Yes.
because so many firm owners tell me, Michelle, I can't collect it. It's been there for years. That's bad debt now. And I was like, oh, no, no,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
no.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got a few I'm still kind of fighting over, but you know what?
You'll
It's
get
like
it.
I get it, but I'm pushing for it. I'm pushing for it. I did
Yeah.
the work. I deserve to get paid, and I'm not going to put up with that anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
So
was huge.
question, you've been at this for 30 years, right? You had
Yes.
30,000 of AR, you were at your wits' end, you wanted to close the doors on the firm, you're like, no more.
Mhm.
What I'm curious about is what other solutions did you try, Robin, to fix this before you found me?
Yeah.
And what did you try to do, but it just didn't work?
Yeah. One of the things that we had actually implemented, and it didn't really go too well, but we did try. Every year we send the engagement letters out early. We send them in December, we send them in January, and we get 10% of them back. And we have to fight for that. And then we're filing the tax return and getting the engagement letter at the same time, which I decided we had enough of this. So going forward, we're not doing that anymore. The
Yep.
second thing was the fact that we actually implemented the mandatory $200 payment, down payment on, holding their spot for the tax return, which
Yep.
out of the 30 people that Kay actually brought us the engagement letters, we got only about 20% of those.
Yep.
So we have decided going forward, we're not doing that anymore either. You have to have your engagement letter signed in early January, and you've got to give us half the payment at least for what the tax return is going to cost.
Yep.
Our return fees have been pretty decent, although with after taking your class, I'm pushing them a little higher because
Right.
it's like, we start at $500-600 for a tax return. And we have some in the 10 to 20,000 range because they're very big and very complex. But those little guys, they could be paying a whole lot more because they're getting the same value as those guys that are getting 10,000, and yet they're
Service.
not
Yeah.
paying for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And no, and I'm so proud of you making these changes and just standing your ground. And you also have your late fees and penalties and
Mm-hmm.
other things that
Mm-hmm.
you've
Mm-hmm.
implemented. What I'm curious
Mm-hmm.
about, Robin, maybe you can share with other firm owners, what were some of your skepticisms or fears before you decided to enroll with us and say yes to the 8-week sales mastery course so you can have this transformation that you've had?
You know what? I'm not so sure it was skepticism in the beginning, although I do remember at one point telling Denise, oh my gosh, what did I just sign up for?
Yeah, tell
Because,
us about that. Yeah.
well, I started to realize I didn't know how much time what I was committing to in terms of time. And actually, I confess, yeah, we sent in our homework a little late, but part of it was we were up against those deadlines, trying to get those done and whatnot. And it was a real challenge and whatnot. So yeah, we sent some in a few late, but I didn't know what kind of response I was going to get back. I didn't really know what I was getting into in terms of homework. I didn't realize how life changing it really was.
Mhm.
So putting together all the components that go along in the program was just, it was so needed. Pieces that you don't think about that really need to be there.
Mhm.
We've always prided ourselves on communication. Communication is key. We hear that all the time from people that come to us. It's like, we give you stuff in like February, March, we don't get it till October. And it's like, no, we don't work that way. We're in communication with you. And if you don't get it done on time, it's on you. It's not on us.
Yes.
And that has always, worked well. They've never really complained about that. And we have implemented late fees in the past, just not as high, but just understanding that there are components that run a firm that are really necessary, that Michelle's group really hones in and really brings it down to, the nitty gritty that you really need in order to run your firm. And you think the software is going to do it. No, it's not about software. Yeah, software helps, and staff helps and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's all the little components. It's the communication, it's building the rapport, it's learning to speak their language.
Yeah.
Here was one of those interesting things too I wanted to share. So when we went through the class, one of the things that we talked about was talking about pain points and talking about our dreams and things like that, which I kind of internalized because I was struggling through the same things, right? So I was struggling through my own firm with those things. But I thought, nobody talks like this. And would you know,
Would you
my,
know, you got extra 60 grand in your bank account when you talk like that.
but but the client actually was the one that brought her pain points up. And she was the one that was literally speaking about, here's my pain points, and and I'm sitting there just in shock, like, oh my God. So I turned around and I said, well, tell me your dream.
Love it. Oh,
And
so
we just really had a good rapport.
yes,
Um, and
yes.
so I'm in the process now of negotiating some stuff with her. I'm putting together a package for her so that she can determine whether she wants to, come on board with us and stuff like that. But it just really shocked me that they were really, talking like that. So yeah,
Yeah. I love
yeah,
that.
it really works.
I'm so proud of you. So, no, Robin, thank you so much for sharing. And now looking back in the 8 weeks, and overcoming this and finding the time and having it be life-changing because you did say it was life-changing.
Yes.
Can you share more about what's changed in your life? Stress levels since starting working with me and Denise, how
Mhm.
excited and optimistic. I mean, you've had your firm for 30 years and you literally
Mhm.
said you wanted to kind of close the door and shut
Mhm.
it down.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
now you're very different. So, how
Yeah.
has this program been life-changing for you and your firm?
Well, right now I'm running a little bit short staffed. So, and there have been many times in my life where I've had a firm where there's, 6 to 10 people, and then I've had some as just me, right? And so right now we're just kind of running a little bit short on staff. So that's been a challenge. However, it really changed my attitude. It helped me to realize that I could have the dream of the firm that I have wanted for years, that
Yep.
I actually had the skill set. I actually had the training. I actually had the tools that I needed in order to be able to build that firm.
Love it.
And that's what gave me the excitement and the encouragement to continue on and to really kind of reach forward. And it's all to you guys. You guys have done an amazing job. I
You did the
also
work.
think, what?
You put in the work, you did the homework.
Yeah,
The work
yeah,
said you do the work. You committed
yeah,
to an hour a day. You figured it
yep,
out, even with the deadlines. You showed up
yep,
to the weekly group coaching call.
yep,
You
yep.
you played full out and you did all the work, and that's why you've had this life-changing experience.
Yes,
Robin, if
yes.
you could tell yourself 90 days ago to talk to your younger self before you joined our 8 week sales mastery course, what would you say to that firm owner 90 days ago?
I'd say go for it. It's going to be life changing, and it's going to help you accomplish the things that you really wanted to accomplish in life. It has given me time to reflect, to think on it, to really put together in place the things I think about as boundaries is what comes to mind, right?
Yep.
Boundaries for clients, boundaries for myself, and then telling myself it's not okay to be abused. It's okay to go home. It's let them deal with it. Let them be hit with the penalties and the whatnot because it's on them, not on me. And
Yep.
I don't have to be physically and mentally abused. I don't have to stay for 10, 12 hours or 14-hour days. I don't have to do that. I
Yeah.
can work a 6-hour day. I can go home. I can enjoy my family. I can, go on vacations. Usually we take vacations because we need to get away because we have no choice. It's like we just got to get away. But at the same time, it's like now I can actually enjoy those instead of fretting over the fact that, oh, I've got this project to work on or that project. It's like it's not my problem. It's not
Yeah.
my problem.
I love
So,
it.
and hang in there because it's going to get better. It's going to be amazing. In fact, I started telling people about your program. It's like they need to do this. It's like, ah.
Awesome. Well, Robin, thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experience and
Mhm.
how life-changing this has been for you. And I'm just so proud of everything. And I'm really happy about your bank account. And even being short-staffed, you can still be
Yeah,
excited about what you're doing. And that
yeah,
goes to
yeah.
show so much. Is there
Oh yeah.
anything else you'd love to share, words of wisdom for anyone serious about taking their firm from where
Yeah.
they're at to what they don't even know is possible yet, that
Right,
maybe you
right.
want to share that I didn't ask you before we wrap up today?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You never know what you don't know.
Mm,
In all the years, you can't know everything.
yep.
But if there is one class that you could take, uh, I would recommend this class because this class is a truly life changing. It will put you in the path where you wanted to go when you first started in the accounting industry in the first place. You had a desire, you had a goal, you had a direction, and somewhere along the line you got beat up and you got, torn up, and it's time for change. And change needs to happen. It happens one at a time, but it can happen with you. And this class will enable you to make that change.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you, Robin. Well said. I appreciate it. It's been an honor to see your growth. And it can happen for someone who's had a firm for 20
yes,
years, right? Or
yes,
someone who's brand new who doesn't want to make the same mistakes that you've made.
yeah,
So thank you
yeah,
again.
yeah. And one thing you talk about that I really like is a lot of people, especially when they start off, they're thinking about a scarcity mentality. It is not. There is so much work out of there. There's so much work around us. We just don't always know where to go find the work, but the work finds us
Yeah.
because if you do a quality job, they will find you. So don't be afraid to say no.
Yes.
In fact, I've said more no's than I've said yes.
Yeah. And the last 8 weeks, that's the biggest thing you learn, right? One of
It's the
them.
biggest thing. Yeah,
And you
saying
said no
no.
so much, and your bank account had a significant shift, and you got paid
Yes,
AR, and you're never going to have AR again. So kudos
right.
to you, Robin.
Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys. You've done an amazing job, and I just really appreciate all the help you've done. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
you're quite welcome.